On the cusp of the city that bore the greatest of the greatest generation lives one of the world's most powerful museum experiences. The National Museum of the Mighty 8th Air Force is filled with the history of the world's most revered flying armada. Established in Savannah a month after Pearl Harbor, it had 7 men with no planes. Through painstaking research and unflinching dedication to their glory, the museum has captured for history the saga of the 350,000 Americans who served in the 8th. Americans whose heroism could not be pierced by bombs or bullets, flak or shrapnel, fire or fear.
That's 20,000 young men up there in the sky that I used to watch go to war when I was a kid.
Roger Freeman, who passed away in 2005, was the definitive voice of the Mighty 8th Air Force. As a boy in England, he was fascinated with the courage of the young Americans taking to the sky from the fields of Britain.
The American boys, particularly on the bomber bases, became to the British our boys. They would count the bombers out and count them back. They understood that these were young Americans were giving their lives, spilling their blood in the same cause.
The Research Center at the museum is dedicated to Roger Freeman's memory and to his lifelong commitment to the Americans who rescued the world.
In the early days, only 1 in 3 had a chance of survival on those raids. It was as bad as that.
Within the walls of the Roger Freeman Research Center are over 10,000 reference books and over 50,000 unpublished photographs. The Research Center is also an indispensable resource for original diaries, letters, personal accounts, and oral histories. Of particular pride are the Congressional Medals of Honor awarded to William Lawley and Forrest Vossler, 2 of many earned by the Mighty 8th Air Force.
So you go up to 25,000 feet in the summertime. Are you ready?
Realizing that character was the driving force behind the success of the Mighty 8th, the museum is communicating the values of the greatest generation to the next generation, the young people who may one day be asked to defend freedom again. Character Counts is the program that reaches out to students to inspire them with the spirit of the skies. 6 pillars underlie the program: trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. Those pillars are made vivid in the lives of the men of the 8th Air Force, the men who answered the call of duty.
When we got to the phase of where we knew the losses were going to be horrendous, say against Schweinfurt at Berlin, General Spaatz asked me, he said, "Lyle, do you think the guys will go? You think they'll fly in the face of knowing that these losses are going to be horrendous?" I said, "You better believe they'll go." And they did.
Set against the landscape, one of the great triumphs of the human spirit is a place that opens its arms to visitors, a welcoming place for gatherings and meetings in a space that is both comfortable and meaningful.
There are so many wonderful parts of the museum: the Colonial Art Gallery, the Museum Pub, the Chapel of Fallen Eagles, and then, of course, the magnificent General Lewis Lyle Rotunda. Whether you're a World War II buff or a day tripper or a businessman with a meeting group of up to 300, we can turn an ordinary day extraordinary and a gathering into a celebration.
The day may come when we will need courage like this again. The National Museum of the Mighty 8th Air Force, with its careful recollection of the World War II experience, acquaints people of every corner with the flying fortress and liberators that rescued the world from darkness. On the grounds are the machines that they rode into history, the chariots that did battle 25,000 feet in the air, where saliva turned to ice and the German Luftwaffe rained terror in the sky.
Billy! Over here! Billy!
Every family in America was touched by the heroism of the 8th Air Force, a fact made real in The Mission Experience, a film commissioned by the museum to look at the war through the eyes of the boys gathered from the fields and towns, from sea to shining sea.
Billy! Billy, come on! Billy, we gotta get out of here! Come on, Billy!
Billy,
Are you coming? Billy!
Are you coming home? Billy!
Boys who flew planes like the vintage B-17 Flying Fortress on display in the Combat Gallery. Christened the City of Savannah, she's being restored back to full combat configuration. This aircraft, along with the B-24 Liberator, flew the missions over Europe that initially took horrendous losses. 40% of the force lost in one day on one occasion. But under General Doolittle and with the escort of the P-51 Mustangs, these men and machines liberated the skies so that Allied armies could reclaim the world. A gift shop brings mementos to visitors moved by their experience and anxious to carry home a reminder. In rooms inside our walls, occupied Europe is recreated, and the faces of the war are gathered so that the lessons will endure as far as memory will stretch. This is a story that must be told, from father to daughter and mother to son, of an unthinkable darkness in the world and the courage and will of Americans to face impossible odds and triumph. That story is alive in one of the world's most powerful museum experiences, the National Museum of the Mighty Eighth Air Force.